So another big inflation number. However, Canada's food professor says there's a light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to food inflation. Do explain.
Yeah, so food prices are still going up, but not as quickly as they used to. So the food inflation rate has dropped now to 8.8%, which is really good news. Obviously, the signs that we're looking for are signs that would suggest that the food industry is out of control, that can't manage supply chains, and really often companies are trying to beat the market by increasing prices essentially, but it's not happening as much anymore. Oddly, the inflation rate at restaurants is not as high as in grocery stores. So again, another sort of interesting story there. Still, the food inflation rate is outpacing the general inflation rate in our economy, but that gap is rapidly narrowing.
Is it too soon to say that food inflation has peaked? Has it peaked? What do you think?
So looking at from April to June, it seems as though we have peaked. So this is good news. Of course, we're gonna have to wait until we see numbers for the month of July, but we are expecting things to calm down as we go through Q3 and end the year in Q4.
A lot of economists are expecting a recession for Canada. Most think it's going to be brief next year. What historically has that done to food prices?
This is a global phenomena. The Western world is hit with higher food inflation rates, unfortunately. So this is not just a Canadian story, but we do believe that really the situation is starting to really be more under control, I guess, in terms of food retail and also in food service as well.
When we do look at food, where are we seeing the biggest price increases still, and why are we seeing them?
So I think dairy is the big story still, and it's going to continue to be the main story for a while. The Canadian Dairy Commission has actually now accepted a second increase this year, so we are expecting the food inflation rate or the inflation rate in dairy to continue to rise, unfortunately. But for other sections of the grocery store, things are getting a little bit calmer. We are expecting milk prices to bump up again in September as kids go back to school. So yeah, you can think of yogurt, ice cream, and other products that are really going to become more expensive, unfortunately, into the fall.
The grocery stores, they're making big profits. Is there any evidence to suggest the grocery stores are hiking prices well beyond inflation?
Yeah, so we're talking about greedflation here, and we did look at financial results of the three big grocers in Canada: Empire, Sobeys, Loblaws, and Metro, and we don't see any evidence. If someone believes that there is some greedflation going on, they have access to data we don't have access to. When you look at gross margins, ratios, and profits and ratios related to profits, they've been consistent the last 5 years. So we don't see any abuse at all in distribution. Now, it doesn't mean that greedflation doesn't exist. We would have to look into processing, for example, in other sectors as well.
This is City News Everywhere.